welcome to Quirky Queen's Journals. My name's Kirsten. So I've been a bit missing in action, but I've been doing lots of work in sketchbooks, just hoping I get an interview for the art school. So sketchbooks is one of the things they'll want to see. These two I have been using, but I keep the pages. This is a Tate one, I think it's sea white, and it's great. It's great quality, but it's like, what is it? 220 GSM, good quality, but the pages don't stay in it. And this one is 140 GSM, and I don't know, I find it harder with the spiral ring bound to keep it as a sketchbook. So this one here is my tidy one. So this is 90 GSM. I bought it because it was Claire Fontaine who does the pastel matte paper. I thought it'd be good quality, and I like it's got a bit of an industrial look to it. So like I say, I've just been sticking things in here, and probably there's something about this I love, and it's just oil pastel on a brown paper bag with some inks. This is Suzanne's Wife from a picture, soft pastels, and then what I've done is I have gel printed it. You know, like a soft pastel transfer to the gel plate. These are gel prints, sort of full pictures on the gel plate. There's videos for these, and this was a pencil drawing that I transferred onto the gel plate and then doodled with the paint on top of. More gel prints. These are ink resists. There is a video for these as well. I actually cut these into threes because I was going to use them to make like a trifold book, but there's something about the way there's an aged look to this, but there is a video. Another gel print, making a full picture and lifting in one pull. Now these are, I did this using the craft press, these ones. Different media on the craft press, you know, the big shot, to try and see what images I can pick up off of the lino cut. Just some more of them. Gel print. I think that was foam actually. I made that on, you know, kids foam, whereas this was a lino cut. I'm sure that was kids foam, because you can see the way that it's there's less sharpness to the line. That was pan pastel. So anyway, there is a video, and believe it or not, this is off like a tractor or something. I went to the National Museum of Rural Life that's near to me and just took some drawings there. This is what I've been doing over the last 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now I've shown you part of this one before, these kind of drawings, but I've went in and added a lot more. This is Royal Talons, which is sure that's the Amsterdam brand, but I really like this book. It can take a lot of, there's a lot going on in here, a lot of layering. Like this is collage, this is oil pastels, paints, put Mod Podge over the top. I like the way that I don't know, it almost gives the oil pastels a bit of a distressed look. Something about this one this was darker here until I did this page. And I really like this one. This just started off as a drawing like this. I like the colour combination here. I think that the contrast is good here. This is texture paste that I put on. Probably do more to this one, to be fair. Okay, I maybe overly went for it with this one. So I've ripped the pages when they're not been dried properly. I've got it here and here. But I really like how these lines from behind are coming through. Again, this is oil pastel and Mod Podge and maybe some paint. I think there's some, there was an orange background anyway. I like the composition of this one. Maybe not these lines here, but overall, I just found this piece of paper that kind of matched the angle of this here. So I put that down after painting this with some leftover kind of red paint, a bit of oil pastel, just trying to match these arms. So yeah, they don't match, but they kind of do. I like that I've took from there to make there. He looks like he's going to thump him. This is just a bit of, see this paint here? And I've just wiped the brush. I think I've used a bit of the texture paste from there. It's on there too. But there's also, this is Inktense pencils that have, just as the book's been closed, left some of its marks. So, but because of these pink houses, well, I'm calling them houses. They look like houses. And this looks like a chicken with a scarf. Anyway, I just like the, it's like a reflection, isn't it? And same with this one. It's like finding yourself in the mirror. This is just white oil pastel on top of, do you know what I collaged? This was tissue paper that I've collaged on and then painted over with the purple, so you can see it was a kind of purple gel print, but you can see there's different shades, and then the oil pastel and Mod Podge. But what I like is this is still, because that's had a slight dampness, I suppose, it still took some of the Inktense colour over. I think that's the biggest thing about the sketchbook, is that when they're closed, stuff happens. So these two are a bit messy. That began life like one of these. And I've just tried to mirror it over here. These two have had a lot of layers added on. I kind of like where this has ended up, but not the, I suppose not the colour so much. But I do like there's defined shapes, but they're completely lost in there. This one, I put this collage tissue paper down, just trying to sort of reflect the colours and the kind of line work here. And then, so this is Inktense, and then what I've done is I've used the oil pastels to mimic the shape there. And for all this is very different, I actually think it does work as a whole. That's just black Posca pen round one of the cartoon type characters. Maybe a bit of oil pastel. No, that's the kids' paint sticks. Acrylic paint. Now this one was interesting. So this is oil pastel, and then what I've done is I've used the tissue paper. I've put the Mod Podge on, used the tissue paper to blot it. Got a bit of a transfer and put it on here. And so I feel it's kind of enhanced what would be transferring over naturally if I hadn't put that down. I don't know, there's something about this that I like. I don't know whether it's this here, the way that that's like a face with a sort of cloak opening up. This is just lots of layers. That was Caran d'Ache crayons with oil pastel over, Mod Podge. This reminds me of Castle Grayskull from He-Man and She-Ra. It's a bit tight. I feel if it was a bit looser it might have been a bit more successful, but again, it all works together. This is just Posca pen and oil pastels, some more doodling. And what I've done here is I've just tried to mimic this sort of shapes over here, but using different materials. This is like sort of like I've got my sort of doodle down and then I've put paint over and I've not came back to it yet, so there'll be, you know, I'll build on these. I like this. This is kids paint sticks and acrylic paints. I just think, I know they're equal as in half and half, but I like they work well together. This is, I think I just wiped my paintbrush on there, to be honest. Posca pen. That's like the smaller nib, the thicker nib. Put some oil pastel there. This has got like 2 tissue paper gel print collages on before the pen, and then this might be the same, I'm not sure. What I've done here is that I've put some paint down and closed it, and then it's created this sort of reflective pattern. So I just enhanced the kind of dusky pink there, and then the brown there. I thought about doing the brown as well, but I think it kind of works as the light, the mid and the dark. And these are just some pictures of my, believe it or not, that's my dog. She looks like, I've drawn her from behind, but all the height's up here. But I find they're good starting points, like for, you know, I'll make another spread out of this. What's next? Oh, you know how I was making the paper pulp? Well, I bought this because it's just gorgeous to look at. The paper quality is not great, but it's just a gorgeous ornamental type one. So what I've done is the paper pulp I was making with the lino cuts, using the lino cuts to create the sort of embossed into the paper pulp, and then I've just lightly went over the top of the oil pastel. But what I like is you get a bit of a transfer over, and there's just something about that I like. So I've put a few of them in there. I like this one. The book's obviously moved a bit because it's slightly, you can see it's slightly jittery there. Not much of a transfer there. Same with this one, that's quite jittery. It must be when you get into the middle of the book. And then these are some papers that I've made. That's just raffia in between tissue papers. I've got some more to put in, just sort of thread circles, more raffia. Haven't decided on this yet. This is just the circles I cut out of paintings that I wasn't going to keep. I think that I would have been better using a thinner paper rather than a sort of cardstock. But yeah, that's not the right shape. But I don't know, I'm thinking of putting like maybe, you know, like an antique book page or something underneath these ones. So I haven't fully decided on how I'm going to put them in yet, but I have cut some of them out ready to go. So yeah, this one's like a display book because I just like how it, I mean, that deckled edge is gorgeous. Now this is a Reader's Digest, and I've just stuck loads of papers together. I mean, there's probably about, I'm not sure, I can't remember. I don't know how much of it I've pulled out and how much of it I've stuck together. I think there's probably about 4 sheets anyway. It's just found paper. So this is acrylics and oil pastel. I've done a bit of sgraffito into the oil pastel. Now I like this shape and I like these colours. It's like a carmine and then raw umber. This is like an olive green. This makes me think of a vase. There's something about this that I like. This one is, I'll be adding more to this one. Colour scheme's not great, but if you squint your eyes you can see some values happening, and this is coming forward and that's going back. I think that's about, oh, these are in progress as well. That's just all oil pastel just now. That's acrylics and oil pastel. But to create a lot of that there, I'm blotting it off with the tissue paper. I'm like here you can see where I've let it dry somewhat and then, you know, gave it a press, and so some of that's transferred to there and there to there, and I quite like that. So, but what I like about using this book rather than just the straight paper is there's natural bumps, and you know, it's flawed already in that kind of, so when you create this line, you're not doing it on a very smooth surface, so it naturally gets a bit more organic. Right, this one here I'm just showing you quickly because this is one that I did. We went to see an old mansion and we were getting a guided tour, and my plan was to do some drawing, but the tour guide was actually very interested in what he was saying, so I ended up doing blind drawings. Well, that's just landscape, those ones, they don't count. I have took some of these out, to be fair. Like, I've removed them and used them in the gel plate. So yeah, so I ended up watching the tour guide and taking some blind drawings. So this is like a, you know, in the corner of a ceiling or something. So I've drew these with my eyes closed basically because I've not looked. And then, although these look very scribbly, they obviously are. It's just that you know, I'm moving fast and listening to them at the same time, and I just think we've got some interesting stuff here. So, pretty sure that was a ceiling actually with the panels. But some. So this was like you can see there, like these are structured like they're lines, but there, that's a very curvy, so I can't quite remember what that was. I think it was maybe like, or you know, carved into the plaster or whatever, like ornate flowers. Now that was a light, I'm sure. So yeah, candlesticks. But I just thought I'd show you that one. This is a diary that I had. Paper doesn't, I feel like I'm almost, all the paint I'm adding is actually helping to strengthen the paper. I feel like this one is sort of, it's just going to meld into itself and become one. So what I've got here is a lot of stuff that I've stuck in, and then I've started painting over. That one I've painted, put on there. This has had, I don't know what I've put on this, maybe glazing medium or something, because it did resist the paint slightly. Do you know what I liked? I liked finding some of these old works that I'd done. It's like an old lady with a walking stick. kind of ruined that one with the paint. When I stuck it down, I stuck it for too long. Oh no, the tissue paper. I was blowing out the tissue paper. And that's like somebody in the toilet. And you won't change your mind on it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff from before, and that was a lino cut. When I first started making them, it's actually more of it there. I suppose I'd put lots of dots out, and then I was just kind of joining them to make shapes. So that's what a lot of this I've just painted. I think was that burnt sienna and the vermilion, and this is just the vermilion, and I've just kind of graduated it a bit. There's quite a lot of these types. Again, I used this to make a lino cut with. I did actually make a lino cut of that little guy there. Some of these are quite interesting. Very minimalist for me. There's the lino cut that I made. It's another lino cut. Some of these are quite interesting actually. I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, it's like a face. It's a paper bag. Should have shown this before. That's I remember my art club that I go to, and then I made a lino cut of that as well. I think that's it coloured in, to be fair. So like this here, this is like a base to start on. I like this. This is, you know, you could go in different directions with this one. I did this one and my grandson did these two. His work's better than mine, I would say. Just some more gel prints. These are the botanical gel prints. I just like I like to just crush the flowers on, or the plants or whatever, just rather than getting a nice single leaf or petal image or whatever. I like to just get the clump it on. That's an image transfer off of one of my Pepin books. This is from Edith Holden. I couldn't resist writing Great Hairy Willow Herb. That's some name. It's an old gel print. It's probably one of the first times I tried the sgraffito on the gel plate actually. Oh, this was this is a collage that I made long time ago, and then I've scanned it and took an actual, one of the very few prints that I've ever made of my work. So you can see there, a lot of this is, now I like this. I found this and I thought, oh, something about this. But then I can see that I have actually done a bit more with that here. I'll find it. There. Sure, that's the same one. So yeah, you can create one image and you can end up making a lot from it. More lino cuts. There he is again. Charcoal. There's some of these are like starting points, but there's something about this on its own that I like. And these are a lot of, you know, when people make master boards of, you know, like scrap papers and stuff, that's what this was. And then it's, but I think there's a, you know, a couple of layers in there, maybe 3, and then I've Mod Podged over it, and you know, the torn raggedy edges. So I've got a few of them in here as well. I'll probably try and do that again, but maybe be a bit more conscious of values. Like this one here. And this one. And that one. I think these 3 actually are probably the best. I put these 2 together because it looks like they're, you know, similar line work, and they're both, there's a triangle shape came from it. That's leaves on the gel plate. I like these 2 together. This is just, I mean, that's solid. But you can probably see how thick that is there. Anyway, yes, so this is pulling up from when I've been using the small gel plate as a palette. And then you've got layers of paint built up. That's what this is. And I just, there's something about how these work together that I just like. And that's text font. Oh, this is just oil pastel. But what I liked about this was when I tore it up, it's actually the outer edges. It doesn't matter what's on here, it's the outer edges, I think, that work here. And that's what I put that in there for. That is printer paper. You know, the wrapping that comes in. What I like there is it's like he's kicking a ball. That's us. So that's what I've been up to. I'm going to continue on these. I mean, the children got their exam results yesterday in Scotland, so I'm hoping that I'll hear from the college the end of this week, early next week, because it does start in about 3 weeks, less than, so but they do want to see sketchbooks as well, like work in progress rather than sort of final pictures. So that's why I've been concentrating hard on these, and I actually think it's been good for me because there's a few things that I've kind of rediscovered. I've rediscovered some old work, but also messiness is where you kind of push yourself. I mean, you try to repair the mess, or when you just go with it. Like when I was saying about the paint not drying properly. Like if I'd done that on one of these papers here, you know, we would have had a much more perfect image, but we would have lost a lot of the flawed areas that make it actually that bit more interesting. Something nice about holding the book as well, isn't there? Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and take care, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.